Another chat coming your way now with a man who isn't quite in social isolation, because over the other side of the world it's a little bit different. In Australia, Tom Marquand is race riding and enjoying a really good time of it as well. They're racing behind closed doors. They are on some form of lockdown, but it's quite nice to talk positively with someone whose life is continuing in a sort of semi-normal fashion. And he's doing incredibly well out there too. Tom rode his first Group 1 winner a couple of weeks ago with Dave. He partners up again with that horse this weekend in Group 1 company. But he also faces those challenges of still staying safe out there and getting home to family and friends, which I don't think has been that easy to plan. So, and he's a lovely bloke as well. So here is Tom Marquand about life in Australia. That is my dog absolutely ruining the garden. Here's Tom. Tom, good to chat to you. You're flying along at the minute, mate. Well done.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty good. Obviously, I got completely lucky with the timing of my arrival back here. And yeah, I mean, like you say, it's sort of a semi-normal existence with the fact that racing's sort of carrying on ahead. But apart from that, I think by the sounds of it, it is pretty similar to back home in the fact that we're locked down. We're not meant to do anything bar exercise or essential travel. So yeah, I guess at least we have a little bit of sunshine here there.
You are definitely, of all the people I've chatted to on it, and to be honest, any of the things that I've been doing via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, trying to keep busy, all these quizzes we've been doing over here or whatever, you're the most healthy, normal looking person I've seen. You've got a fresh enough looking haircut. You're not overgrown in the face department. You're looking brown. You're just looking like a normal individual. So congratulations on that front, first of all.
I'd love to be able to grow a beard if I could. That's not the thing about
beard. I was wondering.
Yeah, it's the sort of once weekly, if not every 2 weeks shave for me.
It's a blessing as opposed to this ginger monstrosity, so I count that as a good thing, definitely.
No, it makes life easier.
So just an idea of day-to-day life out there. You're effectively locked down and you're racing behind closed doors. I mean, how much normality can you inject into your day out in Australia at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I have been really lucky in the fact that I'm living like 5 minutes from the centre of Sydney in a sort of in a decent enough apartment. Like I use Airbnb quite a lot just to get a half decent place. So I've been able to sort of carry on mostly as normal, bar sort of socialising, I guess, and going out for dinner and bits like that. But yeah, like I've got a place called Centennial Park near me, which everyone uses for cycling, running. I'm not doing a lot of running at the moment, but I've been cycling quite a bit and walking and just trying to keep that little bit of routine about it, because I think it'd be very easy to just fall into a bit of a slump and let myself go. So I've tried to keep as much of a normal life as I can, even though obviously the riding that I'm doing and everything else is pretty limited on quantity, I guess.
Well, and excuse my ignorance when it comes to the Australian process, but how in your normal season in the UK, how different is the height of the season out there day to day, not just the race riding, but the riding out, etc., compared to what you would be doing if it was all systems go in the UK?
Yeah, so I'm pretty laid back. No, I came out last year and I rode out nearly every day, and like they start at like the first horses are allowed on the track at 4, so you're there for just before 4 o'clock. And I was doing that every day, and I actually found I got back home and I was more tired than when I'd started, which was kind of completely contradicting the reason that I actually came out to be able to just get a bit of a refresher. But this time I completely backed off. January, February when I came out, I was riding out sort of once, twice a week max, and just sort of galloping all the horses that John O'Shea and people like John Sargent, Mark Newnham, and the Freedmans wanted me to ride, and I was sort of keeping it rather steady. But actually now they brought in a new rule that if you chose the metro area, you can only ride out on a Tuesday. So it's not really changed all that much on what I was doing anyway. So I'm pretty lucky in that regard. But those rules have just quietened down how often you're riding, because obviously there's only Wednesday and Saturday in the city, whereas provincials, it's sort of you could probably ride maybe 5 days a week if you had to do that.
Mm. Is your existence out there sort of different to say what you were doing last year in the UK? You rode well over 100 winners last year, and it was brilliant. But I mean, it feels like almost from afar, you're getting the opportunities in Australia on every big day when they come, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And as opposed to sort of over here where you're riding on the big days, of course, but also then having to go to the smaller tracks day in, day out and get those numbers up.
Yeah, I think like it is a very different way of life. Like there's a big segregation between city, provincial, and country jockeys and horses, and I guess there's the segregation there in the trainers as well. But so it kind of provides a bit more structure, in the fact that you basically choose what you want to do, I guess, opportunity allowing. But I was really fortunate because I came over for John O'Shea, who's a city-based trainer and a top one at that. I completely accidentally fell into the city jockey category, straight from the word go, and I never really stretched out to any country meetings at all, bar one last year, and the provincials. I was half picking and choosing because I was wary of doing too much and coming home and again coming home too tired. So by complete default, I've been really lucky in the fact that I've sort of landed as a supposed city jockey, and it's just kind of carried on, and the trainers have picked me up, and obviously the more opportunities I've had, I've been really fortunate with the success as well.
So I interviewed Tom when he was, I'm not even sure if he was 16, I can't remember. And we were at David Lanigan's old place where Ed Walker is now. Your mum came along with you, of course, because you were so young. And other than you look 6 years older, or you are 6 years older, you genuinely haven't changed. All it is I've been really lucky. I worked hard, but it's all sort of fell into place. I'm sure there's a bit more to it than that, and I think your results have proved that it's not just luck. You're pretty good at what you do. But I like that not a lot of that sort of modesty has changed, so that's quite nice.
Yeah, no, it's
that day.
It's, I don't know, I find it really surreal, to be honest, thinking back, because like in a really short space of time, so much has changed, and yet it feels like such a long time ago. Like I keep, Facebook's brilliant because it keeps popping up. When I first started riding, like every single winner I had would go on Facebook, and the flashbacks to sort of 5 years ago at the moment are my, I think they're my first summer riding. So I keep getting great to ride out my £7 claim, great to ride out my, I've not got yet to my £5 claim yet, 5 years ago. So it kind of just knocks home how much has changed in such a short space of time, because I guess it's really easy to overlook what's happening and what's going on around you when you're in the moment.
Yeah, definitely. What's it like looking on, out of interest, say when I know that we were going to Cheltenham, for example, and there's a lot of, it's up in the air as to whether or not that should have taken place. It did take place, and I certainly felt towards the latter end of that 4-day meeting, it was a case of not if, but when racing was going to be locked down. Where are you in Australia at the moment with regard to that? You're racing behind closed doors at the moment, but is there this sort of overriding sense of we're getting to a stage where it might not happen, or is there a lot of positivity out there that it can continue, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably 2 weeks ago there was a lot stronger feeling about the fact that it wasn't going to manage to carry on. Now they've ridden out the storm, and they're kind of coming out the other side a little bit as to the stats and figures. I mean, I'll probably get this completely wrong, but I was listening to something this morning from Peter Volandis doing an interview, who runs race in New South Wales, and he was saying at one point the infection rate was 23%. I'm not sure where that number comes from, and that was when it was at its worst, and they were managing to race through that, and now it's actually down to I think it's 1.8%. So they're kind of saying now that they've gone through the worst, they managed to keep racing. Why do they have to stop now? It's clearly not affecting the stats of the spread of coronavirus. And I guess as long as there aren't any sort of major players within racing now that get it, or hopefully they can just carry on, and they seem pretty confident. But after the 18th, that's the last day of the championships, so I guess that's their main incentive to keep racing. And then after that, like obviously they'll be trying hard to keep racing going because the revenue brings the government and how many people the industry supports, which is fantastic. But their main priority was obviously getting through the championships.
And what's it like, Tom, when you were still behind closed doors when you rode the Group 1 win, right? So what's it like coming back in to a winner's enclosure? But because I was at a Maidan in Dubai for that Super Saturday where it's behind closed doors, and yes, it felt different. I mean, what's it like on a Group 1 winner when you walk back in on top of the winning horse to sort of almost nothing?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I didn't really care because I was buzzing. I'm a first Group 1 winner. The way the race panned out, like everything just went a dream, and I was absolutely buzzing about sort of nailing in my first Group 1 winner. And it was only when I sort of drove home that I thought, oh, do you know what? Like with the crowd there, it would have just completed it. And actually, subsequently, the weekend after, a jockey called Adam Hieronymus had his first Group 1 winner, and then this Saturday just gone, James Innes Jr. had his first Group 1 winner, and it's just and Hugh Berman won his first slipper on that day, and it's kind of like I didn't realise it quite so much when I did it because I was just delighted about riding a Group 1 winner. But I think, watching Jimmy and Adam ride their Group 1 winners without a crowd, like it has a bit of a sad feel to it, in the fact that a Group 1 winner should just be pure elation. Like the crowd should be going mad, and it feeds the atmosphere, whereas there was just none of that side of it to really enjoy it and sort of be in the moment.
I suppose you're delighted that you're racing and you've got that opportunity and you've ridden your first Group 1 winner, but part of you wants to really, drape the old Union Jack behind the shoulders and or whatever. But I suppose it's that slightly different feel, but you take it, right? Because you got your Group 1 winner, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I would take it all day long. But yeah, there is that, and he was a favourite as well. And we know the reaction that favourites get at places like Cheltenham and Royal Ascot when they win, because 90% of people that have gone through a couple of bottles of champagne will just back a favourite. So yeah, I'll take Group 1 winner all day long. I'm delighted to get off the mark with it, but I think there's always going to be that element looking back on it, just that hint of sort of I wish, but yeah, whatever.
So we're having this chat on it's Thursday. I genuinely have to, yes, it is definitely Thursday. And it's very hard to keep track of the days at the moment, but it is. So we're a couple of days away before you re-partner up with both of those Rosehill winners and another strong book of rides you've got. But it feels weird previewing racing, but it's quite nice actually. There is racing this Saturday in Australia, and you've got a good chance. You're back in Group 1 action, so I mean, you must feel you've got a good chance on a few rides.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the whole day. To be honest with you, I've got some really nice rides booked. Sort of obviously including the English horses, but apart from that, I've got some pretty good sort of Australian horses to ride as well. And yeah, I mean these championship meetings are the highlight of the autumn carnival. So to be able to walk in with sort of major chances on a day like that, like it's only comparable to going to a Royal Ascot or Goodwood or York with favourites in all the group races, or fancied horses with chances. Like it's pretty surreal because I've never had it at home. Like I've only ever gone in on a Saturday, maybe with one chance or one horse that I thought might win, but with a bunch of rides. Whereas this is kind of a bit of a different feel because they're highly fancied horses on a massive damn big race. It's like it's as good as it gets.
There was that Emma Berry did a great article in Thoroughbred Daily News with you. I think coined the phrase "Pom Tom" as well. But it does, from that I got the sense, and speaking to you now as well, that I mean you've been embraced out there, right? You seem to have been really welcomed out there by everyone.
Yeah, like I think it's pretty. I said it's a really nice feeling, the fact that I've kind of been accepted a bit, because obviously, coming down and sort of getting off the mark and having a bit of success, it would be very easy to be stepping on people's toes. And I guess when you're doing that, it does make your life a bit trickier with some people, because ultimately, if you're the one getting the opportunities, they're not being given to someone else. So yeah, I mean, the jockeys have been great in the fact that I've made a few really good mates, and the trainers that have been sticking me on have no worries about putting me on anything, which is an honour, because I only spend limited time down here. I think I've probably only spent about, I don't know, maybe 4 months altogether over the last 2 years, and they're willing to stick me on Group 1 horses. It's a pretty cool feeling, because when I came down here last December, like I went into the tower in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning with John O'Shea, and he was having to introduce me. So I was saying my name, and no one had heard of me, and I was like, right, this is going to be tough. But yeah, no, like an honour to have been accepted into the circle of sort of that city jockey crowd.
Yeah, they know who you are now, mate. Definitely. Lastly, I suppose it's weird. It's weird looking on the UK, right? It must be a little bit with loved ones and family, of course, Holly Doyle, etc., and all your family back home. When are you hoping to come back home, and what's the sort of feeling towards when you do?
Yeah, like it's been pretty tough being away, to be honest, because everyone at home is struggling, and it's not been great for anyone. But I'm hoping that I'm going to get home after next Saturday. I actually had a flight booked this Saturday, but then I'm staying on to ride a horse I won on last week in the Champagne Stakes. So I'm staying another week, and my flight this Saturday was actually cancelled. So I'm just hoping that the flight I have booked next Saturday goes on. But there's quite a few people that I know that are still managing to get home, and yeah, I'm praying that the flights are still going as normal, like they are now. But yeah, Qatar seems. Hopefully, they will be next weekend.
It's that weird thing of life's quite normal. It was semi-normal for you out there, but equally, you're not at home, so you've still got that bridge to cross. But I genuinely, it's nice to talk positively with somebody that's enjoying a good time at the moment, and long may it continue. I hope it does this Saturday anyway.
No, that's very kind of you. Yeah, wow. Hopefully, it gives English people a few things to watch early in the morning. A reason to set an alarm for once.
Exactly. I mean, it all molds into one, really. I don't even know when I go to sleep or when I wake up anymore. So there you are. Tom, thanks, pal. Go really well this Saturday. Appreciate that, and keep safe and stay looking so well. I'm envious.
All right, cheers.